My name is Solana Marin Wells, and on October 12th, 2023, I died for exactly 13 minutes and 42 seconds. What I saw, what I heard, what God showed me about technology and the human soul changed everything. I don't think I was evil, but I was distracted, always. And in today's world, that feels normal. My phone was the first thing I touched in the morning, before brushing my teeth, before I even said good morning to my husband. I scrolled through people's lives, strangers and friends, while I sat in traffic, while I cooked, while I relaxed. But I wasn't relaxing. I was feeding an addiction I didn't know I had. And when I wasn't looking at my phone, I was looking at a screen. When I wasn't looking at a screen, I was thinking about one. When I wasn't online, I felt like something was missing, like I had forgotten my arm. My phone was practically an extension of my body, I later confessed. I couldn't stop, but I didn't know I had a problem. I worked in digital advertising, targeting, analytics, algorithms. It was my job to understand what people clicked on, what made them stay, what made them feel something, or at least something close enough. But I didn't realize how much I had stopped feeling real things. That day, the fog in downtown Seattle was thick as soup. I was walking to a client meeting, running late, and watching a video someone had sent me. Something funny, something viral, something forgettable. I stepped into the street without looking up, and that's when the delivery truck hit me. They said I was thrown 20 feet. They said my skull fractured instantly. My ribs caved in. My heart stopped before the ambulance arrived. I was pronounced clinically dead for 13 minutes and 42 seconds. But I wasn't gone. Not really. I was about to meet God Himself, and He didn't speak through fire or thunder or scrolling scripture. He spoke to me about something I thought He'd never mention. My phone. The moment my body died, my spirit rose. Fast. Not like floating. More like being drawn upward at the speed of thought. The pain was gone. The fog was gone. The weight of the world was gone. I was in a realm of pure light, not just brightness, but awareness. It shimmered like silk made of song. Every part of it pulsed with truth. I wasn't alone. There was a presence, not a man, not a being with wings, but a force of love and holiness so absolute I could barely hold it. It was like standing in front of the entire ocean, but the ocean was alive, and it knew me, and it welcomed me. Solana, the presence said, not with words, but straight into my soul. Welcome, my child. I fell to my knees, or at least, I felt like I did. I didn't have a body, but my soul bowed low. I knew instantly this was God, not the God I thought I had figured out from childhood sermons or online debates. This God was power and compassion, judgment and mercy, light and love, all in one uncontainable flood. Then came the vision. I didn't ask for it. I wasn't ready, but He showed me anyway. At first, I saw a timeline, humanity's journey through invention. Stone tools, fire, writing, the wheel, printing presses, electricity, radios, television, the internet, smartphones, AI. It was beautiful. It was a gift. I felt that. God wasn't condemning human creativity. He wasn't angry about technology. But then, the tone shifted. I saw something like threads of light stretching from person to person. These were golden threads, living connections of love, relationship, worship, community, prayer. They tied people together. They glowed. They hummed with something holy. But then, I saw new threads being woven in between them. Digital cords, glassy, flickering, synthetic connections, screens, apps, filters, echo chambers. At first, they seemed harmless, even helpful. But slowly, they started to replace the golden threads. And I watched as those spiritual threads dimmed. One by one, the presence asked me gently, "Do you see it?" I didn't want to answer, but I did. Yes, we've replaced each other with pixels. The presence didn't accuse me. He didn't shame me, but he showed me. I watched as billions of people all across the world sat behind glowing rectangles. Faces lit up, but not with joy, with blue light. Their spirits, however, were dimmed, like light bulbs barely burning in the socket. I saw teenagers crying silently while uploading selfies. I saw marriages unraveling in bedrooms where both spouses stared at their phones instead of each other. I saw children tugging at their parents' sleeves, begging for attention, while the parents scrolled, not even hearing them. "These tools are not evil," the presence said, "but they have become idols. You have let them take my place." That truth hit me like thunder in my soul. I was guilty. We all were. We had traded God's voice for push notifications. We had replaced prayer with scrolling. We no longer sat in silence long enough to hear a whisper from heaven. Then God showed me 2 cafes. It's strange how small the image was, but how deeply it cut me. In the first, 2 friends sat across from one another, phones off, eyes locked, hearts open. They were laughing, listening, connecting. Above them, I saw their golden threads intertwine, like music weaving between their spirits. Angels were nearby, smiling. The light over them grew brighter. In the second cafe, 2 strangers sat at separate tables. Their faces were fixed on screens. Their thumbs moved endlessly, but their hearts were shut down. No music, no golden light, only artificial cords flickering between them and 1,000 other people who weren't in the room. "They are never alone," God said, "but they are deeply isolated." That sentence will haunt me for the rest of my life. I was then shown a future, not as prophecy, but as a warning. In that future, children could no longer hold eye contact. Churches were quiet, not from reverence, but from apathy. People couldn't meditate, couldn't sit still, couldn't feel unless they were being stimulated. Their souls were numb. They were addicted, but not to drugs, not to alcohol. They were addicted to noise. Noise in their ears, in their eyes, in their brains, and God's voice. Drowned out, but then hope. The presence shifted the vision. I saw another path, a remnant of people who had awakened, people who had said enough. I saw families laughing over device-free dinners, praying before bed, telling stories. Churches full of people who sang, hands lifted, phones forgotten in their pockets. Teenagers journaling instead of scrolling. Businessmen kneeling beside their desks during lunch breaks instead of checking email. I saw people choosing presence over performance, depth over dopamine, stillness over stimulation, And every time they made that choice, the golden threads returned. I cried. I begged God to tell me what to do. What should I tell them? I asked. The answer came softly, but with authority. Tell them to look up. Tell them to look into each other's eyes. Tell them I made them for communion with me and with each other. Tell them, I am not found in the feed. I am found in the silence behind it. I didn't want to leave. I could have stayed there forever. But the presence pressed into me, not physically, but spiritually, and said, now go. Show them what connection really is. And with that I fell. Back into the pain. Back into the beeping machines. Back into my broken body. I awoke 3 days later in a hospital bed. They said it was a miracle that I survived, that the damage should have killed me, that there was no medical explanation for my recovery. But I knew exactly why I came back. I came back to warn you. Since then, everything has changed. I still own a phone. I still have a laptop. I still use technology. But it no longer uses me. I now keep the shattered shell of the phone from my accident as a reminder of what I left behind. Start every morning with 30 minutes of silence before any screen comes on. Choose real conversations over endless scrolling. Speak at churches and youth groups about spiritual digital discipline. Help others unplug their hearts from distraction so they can reconnect with God. And I pray every day, Lord, help me live like you're watching, not like the internet is. And now, to you watching this, please hear me. You were not created to scroll your life away. You were not created to compare yourself to filtered strangers. You were not created to fill every quiet moment with noise. You were created for love, stillness, intimacy, prayer, truth. My name is Solana Marin Wells. I died for 13 minutes and 42 seconds. And in that time, God showed me that we are on the edge of losing something eternal, to something we hold in our hands. Please, don't wait for an accident to wake you up. Look up, put the phone down, and let your spirit breathe again. Because I promise you, God is still speaking, but He's whispering. You just have to quiet the world long enough to hear Him. Drop a comment. What habits will you change after hearing this story? Subscribe for more real Christian NDEs and spiritual testimonies. Share this video with someone who needs to log out and reconnect with themselves, with others, and with God. And if you need prayer, drop a cross in the comments below. You're not alone.